Hi, I'm Sandy. Welcome. Do you think that maybe you might have ADD? Or maybe you don't think you do, but somebody else in your life does, and you're just not quite sure? Well, if that's the case, you're in the right place. Welcome to my channel called My ADD Adventures. And I am here to open up my brain and explain how it works or maybe doesn't work. And maybe you can see if that applies to you or again to somebody else in your life. Now, full disclosure, I am not a medical expert in any way. I'm just a messed up old lady with this weird brain. And I'm discovering new things about me, even at my old age that I am. And I'm hoping that as I go through this and I explain how my brain functions, that maybe you could see yourself in this or see somebody you love that's like this, and we can help each other. I'm here to give some solutions. I'm here to answer questions, and I'm also here to reinforce any things that might be helpful to you or your loved one to make things easier in life. Okay, let's go. Let's start out with my story. This video is just going to be about my adventures, how I came to the conclusion that maybe I have some issues going on and I didn't know that before. And I'm not just here to talk about me. I'm hoping that if I explain the journey that I went through, that you might see yourself in this. So let's get started. Elementary school, I really didn't have any issues. I didn't get any comments on any of my report cards saying that I had difficulty staying in my seat or focusing on a topic or whatever. So there's really not much to say about that. If I go on to like high school and college, that was a whole different story. In high school and college, I had so many tardies. In high school, it was just ridiculous. I was tardy so many times that I had to stay in detention after school, and I really wasn't a stay in detention kind of kid at that time, and it was just a ridiculous number of tardies. I had great difficulty getting myself to school on time. My older brother can attest to that. He drove me to school his senior year when I was a freshman. It didn't go well. He had threatened to drive off without me because he got so sick and tired of waiting on me, and I totally deserved it. I did try to fix my behavior though, and I really just found that I couldn't. Fast forward into my college life, I was always one of these people that was running late, very, very last minute. I also never started any projects early. So like a paper or some type of other project that had to be turned in, I discovered that it worked to my benefit sometimes because many times they'd give out the assignment and then your professors later on would give some more information about what they wanted or what it should be focused on. And I thought I was so smart because I didn't start early, so I didn't have to do it 2 times. And I do remember some people who were like really on the ball that would complain. It's like, oh God, I got halfway through and now I have to change it. And I was a little bit smug about that, if you can believe that or not. It's true, ridiculous, but true. So I actually thought that it was perfectly okay to be last minute. It did bite me. It did hurt because there were times it really definitely worked against me, but there were enough times that I just kind of got by or I squeaked through that I thought, hey, you know, I don't have anything to learn from this. And basically my takeaway in those years, my young adult years, were just that I was a late person, but I still functioned well enough that it didn't make me really look into medication or make me think that maybe there was something more going on with me than that. I must add though too that I've never been such a severe case that I didn't basically get through with the things that I needed to get done. For example, I was able to get myself through a bachelor's degree at college, and I was also able to earn a master's degree. I have a job, and I've always been able to keep it, and I got good evaluations. So it never really got to the place where it hurt me so badly that I had to take action. So I think, in a way, that shows that I'm a person who isn't severely impacted, but it worked against me also because then I didn't seek help for it, and I think I could have been more successful and had an easier time, and certainly been less frustrating to be around had I known that I really had some issues that warranted looking into. Okay, moving on. On to my 40s, jumping in time to that place. By that time, I already had 3 kids, and I would say a fairly successful parent, hopefully. And I also had a job that I could keep, and I was at that time semi-functional in keeping up with the demands of the family. And as you know, if you have kids, if they're busy and they're not driving yet, that means you're busy. And so I was really, really challenged in that area, and I made all kinds of mistakes, and it was very frustrating. But again, we got by. I could manage to get them to swim team and meetings and other events, some pretty much on time, somewhat on time. So again, it kind of delayed my self-awareness, I guess. So anyway, back to my 40s, my husband had checked out a book from the library. I don't even remember what the name of it was, sorry. And he was looking to see if maybe he had some ADD issues or like executive functioning issues. And he took the little quiz in the book and he discovered that no, he really doesn't. That doesn't apply to him. But guess what? He saw me in that. So he ever so gently suggested that, hey, do you want to take this quiz? Maybe you would see yourself in this. I kind of see you in this, so just see what you think. And so I did. And for the very first time, here in my 40s, I saw something that sounded like me. And it's like, oh my God, how do they know what I'm thinking? How do they know that this is how my brain works? And basically, it was a quiz all about executive functioning. Executive functioning, I'll really get into detail later, but it's essentially your brain's ability to coordinate all these different aspects of your life. It's an ability to coordinate successfully so that you can organize, you can plan ahead, and you can implement things that require taking in and managing a lot of different components in your life, which is, again, real life, right? Especially as an adult. So anyway, I saw myself here and I realized, wow, maybe I'm just a little bit ADD. And that's kind of where it ended. And I really didn't think any more than that, but it now was a little bit something that I was cognizant of as I went through work and life and that type of thing. And I could recognize that I had a little bit of dysfunction in that regard, but hey, not again enough to like really take any kind of action on it. So moving forward to now, the creation of this channel and the creation of this passion that I have for learning about all things ADD and EFD, which is executive functioning disorder. I am an elementary school teacher, and I have been reflecting my whole career as to how I can improve my teaching style and my management. And it's been my observation that teachers that are outstanding, not just really good, but amazing at what they do, they are amazing because they have a way to find the time, make the time in our busy day to meet with individual students. And that's really the key. The people who can manage to pull 1 or 2 kids apart in all these little pockets of time that you have to create, because our day in elementary school is very full. We don't sit around twiddling our thumbs. It's go, go, go. So it's really especially challenging for a person like me to find and make the time to meet with kids. And I wanted to go from a very good teacher to an amazing teacher. Not so good teachers do what I call spray and pray. And that's when you just spray out the information to the whole group all the time, and that you don't really monitor to see who's got it, who doesn't. You just spray it out there and pray that it sticks. And that's not what I was doing anyway. And I can handle small groups somewhat, but I wanted to really drill down and do the individual work. So I asked my good friend Shelly, shout out to you, whoop whoop. And I asked her if she'd be kind enough to meet me for coffee and maybe help me find the time and make the time to meet with kids the way that she does. So we're talking, we have coffee, and we're kind of going through the basics. And then I happen to say something about, how time stops and starts. And she looked at me like, what? And you could tell she was floored. And I said, well, you know how time stops and starts. And instead of her going, yeah, I know what you mean, it's like her eyes got this big and she's looking at me like, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. This is bizarre. And that kind of made me hesitate a little bit. And I said, well, and there's other times when time just kind of speeds up and slows down, kind of like Chronos in Lightning Thief. And she's looking at me like, whoa, just stop. Tell me what you're talking about. So I started explaining how I kind of perceive time, how time passes for me. And she said, let's just stop here. And I have to talk, Shelly says this, I have to talk at the next staff meeting upcoming. And we're talking about these type of very issues with students. Would you be willing to speak to the staff about this? Because I really think that it would be really beneficial for them to hear this. And I thought, sure, why not? It didn't bother me because, again, I'm only a little bit ADD, right? And I also kind of expected for the presentation to elicit responses from the staff of like, oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, me too. That's what I thought, because I didn't think I was really that messed up. And so the day comes, and I'm speaking in front of my friends that I get along with, and it did not, and I mean not, go the way that I thought it would. Again, as I was saying, I was explaining how time stops and starts and how, throughout the day it speeds up and then it slows down. And the room got really, really, really quiet. Not that we aren't normally attentive and not that we normally aren't focused. We are. But I mean, it got that really awkward silence, that really awkward, heavy silence of almost like, oh my God, I don't want to hear this. Like, this is an overshare, or, oh my God, you're so messed up. Don't tell us all about this. And their eyes were big, just like Shelly's. Their mouths were open. People stopped typing on their Chromebooks. And I just felt like I had opened up my proverbial kimono and nobody was liking what they saw. So, and I'm sure that was probably to my reaction, the way I felt, and they may not have felt that way. So fast forward to, it took me a while to get over it. And then I found, though, for the next few weeks, that the staff was coming to me and asking me questions or commenting and saying, now I finally understand my brother. Or, oh my God, can you help me help my husband? He can't schedule anything. He always double books. And so that really sparked the passion that I have now. It was the genesis of this whole creation, my whole channel, and everything that I'm learning and explaining to people that is helpful. So it came about through time management, because that's been one of my biggest struggles. But for you, maybe it's your emotional regulation, maybe it's working memory. There's so much more to this. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video by saying that if this was helpful at all, or if you think it might be helpful and you're new here, feel free to subscribe, feel free to like, and feel free to add some comments that might be useful to others in our community. Up next, my next video is going to be probably the most boring, and that's going to be explaining all the jargon, all the abbreviations, and all the things that you want to know, and we're too afraid to ask. So anyway, hopefully you'll click on my next video, and we'll keep learning together. Bye for now.